Hello everyone, my name is Matt Russell. This is my Unit 8 course project presentation for MIS 607. Um, Thank you all for watching, and let's get going. For my project, I decided to create a course recommendation engine um, on behalf of Prior Learning Solutions. So Prior Learning Solutions is um, we are a corporate training company that we do on-site training, although not so much right now due to COVID, as well as like LMS, learning management system, online based training. So that's what this is really for. This is for users who log into our learning management system, and we want to provide them with more targeted, recommended courses. So why do we want to do that? Well, Prior currently has 5,000 plus courses, which helps us provide a wide breadth of content. However, this can make it difficult for users to actually find courses. And we provide some like filtering mechanisms, some different ways to sort and filter courses. But at the end of the day, you still really have to know what you're looking for, filter down to that and find it. So we want to make that easier. Additionally, we recommend the same courses to all users right now as a function of our marketing department. So, you get an email blast that says Prior's featured courses or something like that, and it has the same 5 courses or 10 courses for you, for the guy next to you, for the guy behind you, even if you all have completely different jobs. So we wanted to change that. Finally, the course recommendation engine will recommend courses to users based on their previous behavior. So that is kind of and based on behavior of users that are clustered similarly to them, but we'll get to that later. So for now, the business benefits. One, we will improve customer satisfaction. If it's easier for users to find courses relevant to their interests, they're going to probably be more satisfied with our product because they're able to, find what they're looking for better. Second business benefit, it will increase platform usage. So the ability to find more relevant content should increase the usage rates for the learning management system. And what our data has consistently shown us is that increased usage leads to increased user retention and decreased user churn, and therefore that leads to increased revenue. So there are hopefully going to be a lot of great benefits for this, but overall, it's really just to help users find more targeted content that's what they're interested in on our online platform. So on to the business requirements. First one is that we recommend courses that the users are most likely to watch, and the business just defined that as literally just clicking on the course, opening it. That is all it takes to define a watch. So that may be a problem later, but I believe, that's what the business decided. Next, the recommendations must be accessible through the LMS, the learning management system. We'll have a new recommended for you section for each user on 2 pages. First, the search page and the home page once they log in. And then second, the recommendations must be accessible through email. They must integrate user course recommendations with a HubSpot email platform, both at an individual and at a group level for marketing. So what that means is our marketing team should be able to send out a single email with course recommendations in it to a single user, or they should be able to send out a email blast with thousands of users with all of their specific course recommendations included for each user. So next business requirement is that the corporate group administrators should be able to disable recommendations for users in their corporate group, and that feature should be accessible through the corporate group settings page. The reason why that matters for us is because some of our administrators only use our platform to assign certain types of training, and they do not want their users to see any other types of training. So that's important for those types of clients. Next, technical requirements. So for data, our input data is going to be course attribute data from AS400, which is an old IBMI mainframe, which will lead to some problems later. But the user attribute data needs to come from SQL tables that hold that data, and then the user course data comes from SQL as well. And the output, it needs to output to HubSpot marketing platform and to the LMS. So batch predictions are going to update on a daily interval. The reason why we do batch predictions on a daily interval as opposed to real time and getting the data from like a REST API is because AS400 just cannot handle that amount of data throughput. It cannot work that quickly if it's in the middle of some other action. It's not going to be able to update the records quickly enough for users. So we have to update the records once every 24 hours, and then we store those in a separate SQL table, and then we actually display those to people. What that means is that if I get on my account and watch, it's recommending me a bunch of tech videos, and I watch a bunch of sexual harassment videos, I won't actually get those updated recommendations for another 24 hours. So that's just a technical limitation of AS400, unfortunately. Next technical requirement is that recommendations need to be available 99% of any 24-hour period, and recommendations need to be available for users immediately upon login to the LMS. Again, that was kind of what was holding back those real-time predictions. Just AS400 is a little bit too slow to actually handle that, so we need to get those predictions done early. Next, so our methods. This is just kind of our recommendation methods that we're going to be using. First, collaborative filtering. What this does is it clusters users together and then suggests courses based on the preferences of the users in that cluster. So that's really good. It's just a really good way to actually get users' recommendations, and for that we're using the K nearest neighbor algorithm. The second method that we're using is content-based, and that is essentially factor analysis to find attributes from both from courses and users, and then cluster those courses and users, and then suggest courses clustered with other courses that the user previously watched. So to say that differently, if I've previously watched a bunch of sexual harassment videos, it's going to look at those courses that I've watched and recommend courses like that, as opposed to the collaborative filtering, which clusters me with other users and then recommends courses that those other users would like. So I hope that makes sense. Next, timeline to implementation. We've got 4 sprints here. That's hopefully what it's going to take. We're using a Scrum model for this, a Scrum methodology, excuse me. Over on the right is over on the left, the sprint 1, we got requirements and design. Sprint 2, we're going to gather data and choose the model. And our goal for all this is 15% accuracy in the first week, in the second sprint, and then during the third sprint we're going to have be training the model and further training it rather, and be at a hopefully 40% accuracy, and then by sprint 4 we're going to be deploying the model and hopefully be at about a 75% accuracy. Those are all just goals, and we're not sure if based on the attributes that we have access to if we're going to be able to make that, but that's our goal right now. Questions and concerns. AS400 is the head of a lot of our problems. It's just a very old IBMI mainframe from the 80s that has a lot of problems with data. Second problem is, do we include courses assigned by corporate administrators in the user's course recommendations? So what that means is, if my boss assigns me a ton of sexual harassment training or tax training or whatever, are those actually included in the algorithms, or should we only use courses that the user themselves chooses to watch? So that's just kind of a question that I think we're just going to leave up to the algorithm, sort of. We can run it 2 different ways, train 2 separate models, and then see which one works best organically. So that's my that's, I believe, how we're going to handle that. But if anybody else has any recommendations on that, I'd love to hear. So next we got a use case. Here's just a diagram that has AS400 developer up there gathering data and preparing the data. That's a that's kind of why we have a whole sprint for them, just because AS400 is very, very difficult to work with. Next, the data scientist touches pretty much all the rest of it, preparing the data, building the model, everything else. And the software engineer actually trains the model and deploys it. And then we got a HubSpot developer that's actually to deploy the models to HubSpot. And then after that, users can actually use the recommendations. Here is a machine learning sequence diagram. I'm not going to spend too long on that because I'm already over the time limit. And then the course recommendation class diagram. And so that is all that I've got. Again, this is my presentation for Unit 8 for the course recommendation engine for prior learning solutions. Thank you all for watching, and please let me know if you have any questions. Bye-bye.